terrific. You can also let Bruce. Okay, Bruce, go for it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We have all 5 board members here, 3 present, Ms. Shumway on Zoom and Ms. Young by telephone. So we are going to begin with a presentation with Dr. Dorner. You're going to lead that first presentation?
Hi, Dr. Lucero, members of the board. I would like to invite to the front of the room Officer Jesse Kennedy and his group from the Kingman Police Department. The Kingman Police Officer Association approached us a few months ago with the goal of raising money to support Kingman schools. I believe during the pandemic was a part of the goal, and asked us what some of our needs were. And at that time, we let them know COVID supplies and technology supplies for distant learning is always of great need in the district. And so Mr. Officer Kennedy, and you can introduce your fellow officers, is here to make a presentation to the board this evening.
Good evening. My name is Jesse Kennedy, and I'm the president of the Kingman Police Officers Association, and I will just have them introduce themselves.
Keith Mosby, I'm the secretary of our association. Mike Morris, I'm the vice president of our association.
And Nick Schmitz, I'm the treasurer of our association.
So we are glad, thank you guys for letting us come. And on behalf of the Kingman Police Officers Association, we wanted to make this donation to your guys' school district. We know that these times are hard, and through this pandemic, it's caused a lot of stress on not only this board, but on the school administration, as well as the teachers and the staff members, all the staffs at the schools. So we wanted to do our part in trying to raise some funds to help you guys through this pandemic with some of your needs and different things that you guys are providing for our students. And we just wanted to say thank you guys. Your guys' hard work isn't going unnoticed.
Thank you.
Try to give a stand.
Yeah, and we would come and shake your hands, but we are not in the business of doing that. But we are streaming. So where should they look for everybody that's watching from their homes to see them? If you'll turn around and wave at those cameras, we appreciate our Kingman Police Department, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming this evening.
We also have a presentation this evening to the Moose Lodge of Kingman.
President Lucero, members of the board, I would like to invite to the front of the room a graduate of Kingman High School from 1985. Woo woo, Sean Savage. He is the Moose Lodge Water Chair Committee member. I'd also like to invite Peace Velotis, the trustee treasurer and governor of the Moose Lodge, Dale Klein. I'm going to let Sean explain to you. I just asked him how many bottles of water the Moose Lodge has donated and presented to our schools during this pandemic, and share with them the number you just calculated.
Can I start just a little early on how this whole thing started?
Absolutely.
We were, Surbat Elementary is kind of more of a needs school, so we were giving them supplies, and then I found out we were giving them water. I said, why are we giving them water? Because their water fountains are turned off. I go, is it just them or is it all the schools? They said, it's all the schools. And I said, well, that's not big enough. We need to go big. So with the efforts of Moose members and the business community, we have been donating water since September. The schools are good with water till after the winter break, and we will continue to do this. But as of the date, we've donated over 2,200 cases of water, which is about 53,000 bottles of water. And that's all being delivered by the Moose Lodge. And Safeway has been a big help in giving us a discount for the water. And they use a little pallet jack to load up the trucks. We go, and everyone's got their own school, and the schools are so happy they got people there helping unload the water. So it's a group effort, and we just felt water was an essential for the schools.
Thank you so much. So we have a presentation for you because we understand the importance and value of hydration on the brain during the learning process and for the health of our students. Because we did close down the traditional water fountain, so kiddos couldn't, drop by and get a drink. So we weren't spreading the germs. Those 52,000 bottles of water have been of great need. So I won't shake your hand, but I will give you an award on behalf of Kingman Unified School District to our Moose Lodge, our greatest appreciation, and thank you for all of the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to partnering in the future. Thank you. And then if you'll wave at the camera. You didn't know you were going to get entertained at home this time.
Yes, please.
Did you go to school with Mr. Savage?
Yeah, we graduated together.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
If you can get us copies of those, please. Or have Star call me, I'll get my email. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Moose members.
And our last presentation is going to be to our fellow board member, Mr. Ricca, who is going to be leaving the board on, what's the official date? You have to work until January 4th or something like that, I think, correct?
See if you can catch me.
So, as you know, board members do not get paid anything, but we do get one thing when we leave, and that is cake. So we're gonna say a few words to Mr. Ricca, and then we're gonna take a short 5-minute break. If you want to say anything to Bruce, we'll do it COVID style. I guess you have to stay 6 feet away from him, and I'm not sure how we'll serve the cake, but we'll figure all that out so it's safe for everyone. So with that, I'm gonna ask if any board members want to give any words of wisdom or goodbyes to Bruce, and we'll start with Ms. Weiser.
Well, Bruce, I already told him when I walked in that I came purposely in person to honor you, Bruce. I have been so surprised and then very, very happy when I hear you bring up ideas that you have, like the grades for athletics and all of the different, your concepts, your history of the town and of the school. It's been invaluable for me, and I really appreciate it. We're gonna miss you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Young, did you want to add anything?
Yes. It's really been a great pleasure working with you, Bruce, over the last 6 years. We've all gotten along so well, and we think a lot alike, and you know, you've been a great asset, and I have learned quite a bit from you, and especially when you served on some of the down in Phoenix on some of the committees, and you brought back stuff and shared with us, and I thank you for that, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Carol.
Thanks, Mrs. Young. And Ms. Shumway, did you want to add anything?
I've just known Bruce for only 2 years, but we actually think nothing alike. But I appreciate his candor and his opinions, and I respect his approach to a lot of the meetings. So best of luck to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Jim.
And then Bruce, I have a few words for you. I didn't want to forget them, so I wrote them down. Is that okay? So how many years have you been on the board? How many years have it been?
End of my 8th year. Been
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
right, 8 years. Okay.
You're the one that's been on forever.
Yeah.
So we don't have you, Bruce. Okay, Bruce. So 8 years ago, you walked into the boardroom and no one knew what to expect. But Bruce, it was soon clear that you would never misdirect. You were just a guy who sold real estate, and we can't forget that you sold chicken by the plate.
Pioneer chicken.
Many may have thought, what do you know about schools? But everyone who doubted you now look like fools. You held students accountable for their grades if they wanted to play activities and sports. People got so mad that I think some of them wanted to pull down your shorts. The board got behind you because we knew you were willing to put up the long fight. And as a result, all those students kept improving their grades and proved you right. Your words of wisdom and guidance in expulsion hearings will always remain in our heart. When I was in high school, is how many of those words of wisdom would start. But at the end of the hearing, at the end of the day, families and students would always walk away and remember what Bruce Ricca had to say. Rezones and pay freezes were tough to endure. You were always a board member who tried to find a cure. Even worse were the times that we had to have rifts and wanted those to end. Your help guide the budget and put a stop to that trend. All of the smart thoughts in your heart and your head gave us Cambridge, pay raises, and many more successes were ahead. You always had the respect of the superintendents you worked with throughout the days. Jax believed in your leadership and always believed in what you had to say. When Dr. Dorner became our new leader, she didn't have to fret. With your knowledge and wisdom, she knew she had your shoulder to lean on, as if you were a safety net. Tear down Paula Christie, many people would shout, but you said, hold on, that place has some clout. Ricka would go on to take the Paula Christie committee lead without a shrug. The Kingman and downtown community appreciate you and will forever give you a hug. I promise you this, Bruce, your legacy will thrive. The board will someday make Paul Christie once again thrive. Mr. Ricka, it will be difficult not to have you on the far right side of our table, but we know that if we ever need your help, you will be able. Students, parents, and KUSD staff are grateful thanks for your devotion. Bruce, my friend, we are all happy for you, but will also be sad upon tonight's last motion. Let's all take a minute to say thanks during a short break. Bruce, we're ready for a snack. It's now time to cut the cake. Congratulations. I don't know if we're gonna have Mr. Ricka cut the cake, or do you want to say a few words first?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, Star will wear gloves and cut it.
Star Wars gloves. Okay, good.
Well, I am very, very honored for all the kind words you have to say for me this evening. I ran for the board 8 years ago, not knowing why. Just got talked into it by a couple other board members. So when I got on, in fact, I barely got on the first election. I think I won by 48 votes, and it took about 3-4 weeks before they had the final. But anyway, I've enjoyed serving on the board. When I got on, I thought, what am I going to do? Well, Roger Jacks helped me find something that I could sink my teeth into, and that was the grades, like you mentioned, of the kids. And it was not only just about sports. It was a matter of letting the kids sneak by on mediocre grades. We were doing them an injustice by not giving them a goal that was higher for them to reach. And that's why I fought so hard for the grade average to be better. And I started with the athletics for one. So I'm really proud of what I was able to accomplish for that. And then I've had plenty of other little issues and everything else. And of course, as Charlie said, I was saddened when we couldn't do something with Paula Christie. It still sits there and it's still ours. So someday something probably will happen about it. I am very thankful that my spot is going to be taken by Mr. Roger Jacks, who's a retired superintendent. I think he's going to know exactly what to do. He's not going to be a gringo like I was, because he taught me. And I appreciate it, Roger, everything you did for me. And I've worked very hard to please anybody I could. I've enjoyed you, Gretchen. I just haven't been, around you all that long, but it's been my pleasure to serve on the board. And I would like to at least let you know my wife, Barbara, he happens to be a board member of the charter school. And I have my daughter here, my youngest one, who works for the district. She even taught at the charter school at one time. So I would say all of our families have gone through school here, and can't say that we haven't been involved in having interest in not only the students, but the teachers and the district to survive and do the very best. I just feel it's, after what I've done over the last 8 years, it's time for me to move on. Not getting any younger, but probably have a few things to do in the future. So with that, I want to thank you all for the kind words and stuff you said for me.
And Bruce, the KUSD would like to present you with this plaque presented to Bruce Ricka in appreciation for your service on the school board 2013 through 2020. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you very much. This kind of sums it up, doesn't it?
So we'll just take a few minutes. If you want to have some cake, go get some cake. There might be coffee and water there. If you want to say something to Bruce, you can do that. And then we'll resume back at 6 o'clock. Would anyone like to address the board this evening? No one. Will move to item 8, our reports. Our first report will be from Dr. Dorner.
President Lucero, members of the board, I would like to continue the evening of celebrations by giving a shout out that is COVID or pandemic related. As you know, many of our leaders and our campuses, our teachers have had to be quite innovative in determining ways to deliver instruction, keep kids engaged, find new ways to manage information systems and curriculum. And our Positive Alternative Campus, the soon-to-be Sandy McCoy campus, who is led by Jen Potter and Sandy McCoy, is no exception. So I'm just going to read a little accolade that they recently earned. And I think IT is going to put a picture of our Positive Alternative Campus staff on the screen so folks at home can see them. EduPoint announced the first ever Synergy Achievement Awards on November 17th, 2020. The 3 national awards were virtually presented, with PAC, Kingman Unified's own Positive Alternative Campus, receiving this honor in the category of communication and collaboration, which we love because our mantra is communicate, collaborate, and come together, and PAC did just this. PAC was initially awarded a $2,500 grant to be spent in the area of technology. However, after learning more about the program, the students, and the staff at PAC, EduPoint doubled the technology grant to $5,000. There are 3 reasons why PAC won the Synergy Achievement Award in communication and collaboration. First of all, the leadership team. During the 2020 fourth quarter school closure, it became abundantly clear that the packet-based program could not efficiently or effectively serve the student population for PAC. With over 80 years of experience, Sandy McCoy, Brent Potter, and Jen Potter proposed a digital and distance instructional model so that the teen parents, chronically ill students, self-supporting students with full-time employment, and students impacted by lockdowns on the reservation could continue to receive quality education and earn their credits. The successful implementation of the Synergy platform helped PAC leadership communicate and collaborate with various KUSD departments, the Wallapai Education Center, Technology Consortium, and EduPoint. So the leadership really drove the way in using Synergy, which is our digital platform for student information, to upload and provide curriculum to students in a digital manner. The PAC staff and faculty was on board. Andrea Gale, Laura Woolsey, they utilized Synergy for tracking registration, enrollment, attendance. They communicated and collaborated with students, their families. They used Student View, Parent View, and other related apps. Talitha Anderson, Michael Bertelsbeck, Deanna Cody, Jill Moon, Kari Murdoch, David Rice, and Tom Wokash. The teachers communicated and collaborated with one another and with the students. They use Student View and Teacher View on a daily basis to assign grade assignments, mentor the students, their progress, provide individual instruction, and more. And finally, the PAC and iCare students themselves had the opportunity to utilize this innovative program. For over 300 students in a year pass through the digital hallways of PAC now with adult responsibilities, and they really embraced the new system. Everybody at PAC is achieving, earning their grades, and successfully moving forward. So it's because of these reasons that our own school down in Old Kingman won the first ever Synergy Achievement Award for communication and collaboration. And we are really proud of our PAC staff and students. So that's they're all watching at home. So hello, leaders and staff at PAC, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Dorner. That's awesome. Were you doing a return to learn guide update or not?
No.
Okay. And we also have Mrs. Weiser with the ASBA conference.
Yes, the ASBA 63rd Annual Conference, the main highlights is that we were electing new officers. And one of our keynote speakers happened to have been an Arizona native who is now the executive director of the National School Board Association. So new officers, we now have representation in rural parts of the state, which has been a long, hard fight to get. But now we have representation in rural parts of the state in the new officers, and some of the breakouts. talked about gifted education, and others were talking about online learning issues and how to overcome those things. So those were just some highlights that I wanted to bring forward.
Thank you, Beth. Any questions for Ms. Weiser? Item 9, approval of routine orders of business.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Ms.
I'll second.
Weiser, second by Mr. Ricca. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 10, Chalk Talk curriculum to be on display for the required 60 days beginning this evening.
Mr. President, members of the board, this will help prepare high school students to take the ACT test.
What is it? Is it like it's going to be given in a class or?
There's several ways that you could give it. You could take it in a class, or you could do it like a night track or a morning or Vols time, that type
Oh,
of
okay.
thing. So it's several ways you can use it. It's an online program.
Awesome. Any questions for Ms. Woolsey? Okay, that's information only, so we'll approve that at the next, 2 meetings, correct? Next 2
Correct.
meetings. Item 11, book on display for the required 60 days beginning today.
Correct. This book will be on display for the next 60 days. It's a 7th grade level book that will be used in the classroom to supplement the regular ELA.
Okay. Any questions regarding item 11? Item 12, approve new course Russian 2.
Mr. President, members of the board, we would like you to approve this as a new course. We approved Russian 1 a while back. It has been quite popular from what I hear at Lee Williams, and we would like you to approve Russian 2. If there's any questions, the teacher's actually in the audience.
I know I had originally had questions about doing Russian, or offering Russian, given other languages that would be possibly more used. But I'm really excited that it's got a following. That's awesome.
Any questions or motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the Russian 2 class.
I'll second.
We have a motion, Ms. Weiser, second by Ms. Young. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 13, approve qualified evaluators to 2021 school year. John Blake, Rebecca Burns, Daniel Emborski, and Deborah Kelly.
Mr. President, members of the board, these are new administrators with our district. They've been working with Ms. Eastman and making sure they have the qualified evaluator trainings. They are now approved to begin evaluating teachers with your approval.
Any questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Ricca, second by Ms. Weiser. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 14, approve fiscal year 21 classroom site fund plan voted on by KUSD teachers.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is our annual requirement to get this plan approved by the board. It's already been through committee. It has very few changes from the last 2 years. I think the tumultuous nature of our state right now is just kind of pushes teachers back on making any changes to this plan. Right now, each teacher would qualify for that one performance pay bucket. But if the state were to come out with new grades and those grades change, that could change for some of our teachers, but we don't believe that's necessarily going to happen. In case you were curious, this year's entire 301 payment, all 3 buckets, will be $9,000 when all things are said and done. That's $9,000 to each and every eligible teacher. And of all the people who voted for this plan, 99% voted yes. I think we had 1 no vote. I'll take any questions on that.
Any questions for Mr. Sherman? No questions? How about a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item 15, approved districts M&O and capital revised expenditure budget.
Mr. President, members of the board, I bring good news with this revision. It's been somewhat of a roller coaster since COVID hit, trying to track revenue and track expenditures. And so the December revision, that accounts for our final numbers from last year, and it also accounts for our enrollment dip in this current year. And as I wrote in your memo, the unspent funds from last year have offset the loss in revenue this year. So at a minimum, we're back to where we were with $1 million carryover within M&O, $6 million in cash within our capital fund, and any sort of plans that we had spoke about last year are back on the table. And so that's encouraging news. But something I need to specifically mention is that revenue is down. I keep saying that. This carryover money we know is finite. We can use it to buffer us, hopefully, through these times, and that these times will be short, if that's the hope, and that we'll come out and be good and hit it running. But if these times continue to push us down, that money that's carryover, it just won't be there any longer. So it's still important for us to make decisions as if we are in somewhat of a crisis, even though we have cash. And lastly, minimum wage goes up on January 1. It's 15 cents from $12 to $12.15. We applied that by giving 15 cents to each hourly employee in our district. That maintains the work we did to separate jobs by classification and responsibility. That keeps all that separation in place. That is in this revised budget because January 1, it needs to go in place. So by approving this budget, you are approving that wage increase for classified hourly employees as well. So I'll take any questions on all of those topics.
Where are we at with our student count? Like, how many students are we down?
I couldn't say offhand. It's between 250 and 400, and it's fluctuated. But as that, I took it in late November, and I want to say it was in the 300 range, high 300. But I'd have to go and grab my records.
That's okay.
That sounds right.
Okay.
Yes. Not nearly as many down as we anticipated.
Right.
Our daily attendance is down, but thankfully our revenue is generated by the 40th and 100th day versus daily attendance like in the olden times. So we appreciate people keeping their kids home when they're ill, and we're still able to collect the revenue on our overall ADM.
We're not down nearly as much as schools
Many others.
anecdotally that I'm hearing from the rest of the state. Today I had a conversation with multiple schools, and they were talking about 10% being the norm of enrollment down, and that's not us.
Good. Any other questions or a motion?
I just want to make a comment.
Yes, Ms. Weiser.
In relation to all of this, we're all mindful of the fact that the state coffers are also going to be reduced from the economic reductions that have taken place in the state, and the travel and everything else. So we really do need the fact that we maintain this carryover. We're going to still need it this next year. Bruce, were you going to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, that we approve it. We have to.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 16? Yeah. Discuss current status of district's upcoming energy management project. Discussion only.
Mr. President, members of the board, as you know, you approved a resolution a couple of months ago. We were going to go and sell that loan, that project. Bank of America did buy that loan and has loaned us $21.6 million. That's in an escrow account. We got a 2.41 interest rate. We weren't expecting to get one that low, and so that could save us upwards of $1 million over the course of this loan. So just another boon from our hard work over the last decade to get our finances in order. But what I really bring this to you for is we're going to be breaking ground this month in December. Like, we have had our pre-construction meetings. It has now been handed over to the construction team. I want to know from you what type of updates you'd like to see as we go through this. And it could run the gamut from me speaking briefly monthly to mid-state coming in and presenting full-blown construction updates for you. So what you want to see is what we can provide. And that's why I brought this item as well, to tell you that we closed on the loan.
Okay.
I would imagine it would be good if we had updates every board meeting. That way the public would be able to see what's happening.
Okay. From me only or from the mid-state?
From mid-state.
Yeah, I would say maybe they could do one when they start, and then you could give us the updates in between that. And then if we needed them to come in, we could request that.
Okay. So maybe at our next meeting, get their team in to talk about what's happened and what the next months are going to look like, and then have myself update through monthly.
Yes, that'd be, yeah.
Okay.
Jen and Carol, did you have anything to add to that? Does that sound okay?
That's fine with me.
Sounds good.
Good. Okay. Okay, that was information only. Any other questions for Mr. Sherman? Item 17, information. I think this is just discussion. Information related to the transfer of contract IFB 18-03-23 from Kingman Gas Card to ROC Texanol LLC for off-site fueling stations.
Mr. President, members of the board, these next two items are essentially the same thing, just with different aspects of the company. The Texmo, one of these companies bought the other company. It doesn't change the contract we have in place. It's just a point of information for you to know that those companies have changed. So ROC Texmo is now the head instead of Kingman Gas Card. It does not change our rates or the agreement that we are under with them.
Okay.
And
So
that's the same for both items.
okay.
You don't want me
So any questions on 17 or 18? No questions. Item 19, information and discussion and possible action on the most recent COVID data and return to learn strategies.
Dr. Lucero, Mr. President, members of the board. As you know from the last board meeting until now, we did transition into an AB model, which we talked about at that time based on data. The AB model does give our staff and students an opportunity to socially distance. Having said that, I want to say to those in the room and in the community that it is imperative that we continue to wear our masks, socially distance, stay home when feeling ill, quarantine when someone in the family is identified as COVID positive. We've continued to do a really good job with that, but I do want to have that reminder that Governor Ducey and the executive order did lower the age or reduce the age of mask wearing from lower elementary into the preschool. We've provided masks to Mrs. Beyer, the director of preschool, for kiddos who are able to wear them. And that is stipulated in the executive order. They have to be able to put them on and take them off and be safe wearing them. They are in the preschool at this point, and even when we are in classrooms and there are only a few people present, we are wearing the masks. We have found that our strategies are working. We did add to the website. I hope many of you have visited it. I've sent it out to KUSD all and to board members. A link that our IT department has helped us add that shows our current number of students, our current number of staff, and any currently active cases. We're updating that every couple of days. It has remained fairly steady as some cases become inactive, other cases become active. We are still quarantining anyone within close contact, and we're still monitoring the data. So we'll stay on the AB. We still qualify for a hybrid based on the data provided by the AZDHS weekly. We are looking at the numbers in the county and at the state and watching it and anticipating, and in discussions with the health department, that 2 of the 3 are in the red zone. We still have 1 in the yellow, and as you know, 3 out of 3 need to be in the red zone to move to virtual. We do have our principals and our staffs in constant conversation about virtual, should we have to move to virtual. Every school has identified a plan. We went over those plans this morning at the principals meeting. So if we do go 3 out of 3 red, we are ready to move to virtual. We feel like we will make it obviously this week. Next week is a partial week. And then unfortunately, for the nation and the world and our own local community, the the pandemic is still with us, so we'll take a look at what happens on January 4th based on the numbers. So I appreciate you guys working with us and allowing me to email you any changes and then call a meeting as needed.
Any questions for Dr. Dorner? What you put on the website is impressive, how it has the numbers broken down by school and percentages, and I didn't expect the percentage to be that low on there. So
Our folks are working really hard. And I do appreciate when someone either texts me, emails me, or calls me and gives me a head up. I've heard from board members and community members when the optics aren't good. We don't want that at any time. You know, someone was seen in the community and they are known to need to be quarantined. We don't break HIPAA. We don't share names, as you know. But it's a small community, and sometimes we know who's positive or who's under quarantine. And so with HR and with the supervisors, we just are always trying to be mindful that even though we're less than 1% staff and less than 1% students, that it's taking all of us working together, and we have to really keep an eye on it every minute of every day.
with the less than 1% number, let's say all three of those indicators are in the red, would you take to consideration of staying AB even if our internal numbers are staying there or decreasing?
I think if our numbers are decreasing, and well, hopefully all the numbers are decreasing. We saw a minor dip in the percent positivity from 2 weeks ago to last week. So I hope that was good news, unless you're looking at the dashboard and you saw November 30th. But if it'll be Dr. Lucero based on the safety at the time. If we feel like our numbers are increasing and it's in our best interest to go virtually, we'll do it. But if we're going down or staying safe, we'll have that conversation with you as a board.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment that I've been noticing on national news and talking about elementaries being able to be a little more flexible about actually being in class. And have you had those discussions about possibly just having elementary be open if we have to?
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The highest numbers, and if you look at the dashboard, you'll see it's higher at the secondary for movement. And I talk to Mr. Ward and Mr. Taylor on a pretty regular basis to discuss just that, Board Member Weiser. If we feel like it's the best interest at a high school level to go virtual, but our elementary's numbers are 0 to none, we can stay hybrid for elementary and move to virtual at high school, or any combination.
Great.
Is that a conversation we're going to have and vote on prior to the semester starting?
Yeah, I think we should have Board Member Shumway probably should schedule a workshop maybe for the second week of break if everybody's available.
Sounds good.
When we're closer to knowing what we're going to do, yeah.
Any other questions?
I'll have Star set that up. Mrs. Litzinger, Board Member Secretary.
Thank you. Item 20, approve the listed donations.
Well, I'm telling you, there are a ton of them, basically, to all of our schools in the district and everything else, and they've always been very well received, and we can't give them enough appreciation for all the donations that we get throughout the year and every month. And I think it's unbelievable, really, and it's to our benefit that these things happen and keeps us going. So hopefully we just keep getting more and more all the time, but I'll approve all the donations that we are receiving, have received.
So motion to approve by Mr. Ricca. Second by Ms. Weiser. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
None opposed. Motion passes 5-0. Item 21, I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session to discuss the superintendent's evaluation.
make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, Carol. Motion passes 5-0. So we are going to go into executive session. Thank you all for coming this evening. We really appreciate it. Please be safe and have a happy holiday.